Now, Sports Talk with Broads. Here's Hunter Brody.
What is going on, everyone? Welcome to Sports Talk with Broads. We are broadcasting live from the Manscaped Man Cave. Get 20% off and free shipping with the code BROD at manscaped.com. I told you after game one was over that the Rays are here for a reason. They are a talented squad, and I knew that they would bounce back. Now, it did help that the Dodgers went with the philosophy that they did with a bullpen game in game two, essentially, throwing Gonsolin on the mound. I did not think that that was the strongest idea in the world, and to be fair, I thought that before this game even started. This isn't just hindsight. When I saw the move, I thought, is this the best idea in the world? Because they could have been aggressive right out of the chute. If you go up 2-0, and I'm not saying Walker Buehler on the mound automatically means that the Rays lose, but you put yourself in a better position to win without a doubt. And if you could go up 2-0 before this off day, that's a pretty big statement on the series. Not that that means the series is over. Based off of what we saw in the ALCS and the NLCS, you should know it's not over until a team wins 4 times, all right? We saw some explosive comebacks occur. I thought they left the door open, though. That's the best way to describe it. They allowed the Rays to keep their feet in, and now it's a 1-1 series. This is what I want. You know, I want this thing to go deep. I want this thing to go 7. I want to see haymakers back and forth throughout the series, and that's essentially what you got throughout the first 2 games. It was a good win for the Rays. It was definitely needed, and it puts themselves in a pretty interesting spot here for Game 3 with Morton and Buehler facing off against one another, which I can't wait to see. Now, I have an Eagles game to look forward to on Thursday, which will give me the distraction, if you will, of having no World Series game before we bounce back on Friday night. So I can't wait. But let's talk about what we witnessed in this 6-4 victory by Tampa Bay. It's hard to not start with Blake Snell. Blake Snell was magnificent the way he was utilizing that slider. He threw it a lot. And not only was he throwing it, but where he was throwing it, location, up, down. He was changing the eye level with a lot of his pitches. The slider was very effective, and the Dodgers as a whole throughout the entire game struck out 15 times, and Blake Snell, through his 4+ innings, he was a magician. He did run into some trouble in the 5th, and he does need to work on that, and you heard Dontrelle Willis after the game on Fox Sports 1 pretty much say, look, dude, if you're going to want to carry this team and help this team win a World Series, you're going to have to go deeper than that. But he was very strong. He had flaws throughout his outing, specifically that 5th inning, and I thought Kevin Cash took him out at the right time. But before that pull, he was tremendous, and it was all about that slider, which was on another planet, utilizing it every single which way he could. And guess what? The Dodgers couldn't do damage with it for the most part. Okay, so not only was Blake Snell awesome, but how about Brandon Lowe? This team needed Lowe. And I just talked about Cash, who left Glasnow in too long in Game 1. And that was a lot of criticism. What he did in the previous series with Morton, with Snell, that was a hot topic. Well, people were starting to question, is Lowe worth having in the 2-hole? How many times are you going to put him in the lineup in that spot if he is struggling to this degree? Well, he starts the game off with an opposite field bomb to give the Rays a 1-0 lead. And that was huge, to take an early lead, to attack Gonsolin, to get on a guy who you know has a short leash to begin with. That was such a big statement early on in this game, and for him to do it, wake-up call for him, and just like that with the snap of your fingers, that could be the difference in having a hot series or not. And not only did he do it in the 1st inning, but later on in the 5th inning to make it 5-0 off May, who came in. Boom! Opposite field bomb, 0-2 count with 2 outs. So big time at bat. He hits 2 home runs in this game, and that was something that could be the difference maker. Now, I said it could be the difference maker in the Rays winning this series or not. You need someone like Lowe producing. You need one of your best bats out there knocking in runs, hitting the long ball, crucifying pitches. Opposite field, and you're telling me an 0-2 count, 2 outs, May's trying to deliver? Hell no. And you saw the reaction from May as soon as the contact happened. He was pissed. He knew he screwed up. And here goes Lowe trotting around the bases. That was a 5-0 lead. And it was 5-0 at that point because in the 4th inning, how about Joey Wendell making the most of his opportunity with 2 outs? He gets a 2 RBI double. And it was a big opportunity because the Dodgers had a double play ball. They missed up the double play ball. And because they messed it up, that allowed that inning to continue to go longer. And boom, just like that, you make mistakes, good teams will cash in. No pun intended with the cash, am I right? That 4th inning was big. Dodgers make a mistake. Can't turn 2. Inning stays alive. Bing, bang, boom. Joey Wendell, no batting gloves, awkward looking stance, delivers. Crazy. But I'll give credit to the Dodgers here. They're always cracking back. And I know at the end of the day it doesn't matter because it was a 6-4 victory. So it doesn't matter. It's 1-1. That's what matters. But I kind of talked about this after game 1. And it was that 7th inning where Zunino was up, Gonzalez was on the mound, and I thought, like, hey, if the Rays could get some runs, that would just make a statement to the Dodgers that, you know what, you got us in game 1, but we're here. Now, essentially, that meant nothing because they didn't score enough runs to make that type of statement. And then in game 2, they did what they needed to, right? But with the Dodgers, I feel the way that they were hanging in there, and that's what the Dodgers do. They have so much firepower that it's hard to just shut them down and say, you're going to do absolutely nothing. They're going to find ways to score some runs on the board, and it did get pretty damn close to the point where Aaron Loup, of all people, yeah, bring up the Philadelphia Phillies, why don't I? Aaron Loup, of all people, comes in a high-leverage situation with Cody Bellinger up, with men on, and what's he do? He strikes him out looking. I mean, what world is this? If you have a Phillies uniform on, you blow. If you go to other teams, you succeed. It's wild. It really is. It blows my mind. Aaron Loup, of all people, in the 8th. But I bring that up because the Dodgers were staying involved. And you had moments where you thought, uh-oh, you grabbed onto your couch seat a little tight there, late innings. Dodgers had guys on. But the Rays pulled through. Now let's get to this 5th inning because this 5th inning was where Snell got into some trouble. But not at the start. At the start, he gets out Bellinger and Pollock. Boom. So he got 2 outs in the 5th inning. It looks like this guy is just going to continue his cruise. But this is where things went south. He walked Kike Hernandez. Taylor hits a home run. So boom. Cracks into the lead. And to that point, when I tell you that Blake Snell was cruising, no one could get a damn hit. Walked Mookie Betts, then Corey Seagor got a single. So that 5th inning really was something else. And if you think about it, it's that 3rd time through the lineup. There is something to be said about that 3rd time through the lineup. And yesterday, with Glass now on the bump, it started off 3rd time through the lineup. I'm getting a little concerned for the Rays. Walked Mookie Betts. Walked Seagor. We know the story, though, because Cash in that moment allowed Glasnow to go way too long. I don't know what he was doing. Maybe he was trying to save the bullpen as much as possible, but that backfired. The 3rd time through the lineup is crucial, and you saw when you start toying around a bit, that's exactly what happens. Now, Nick Anderson had to come in to face Turner. He fell back 2-0 in the count. I started squeezing my head, squeezing my hair, pulling it out, biting my fist a bit. Then, come on now, Anderson, let's go. Let's get out of this thing. Fought back. Got Turner out. Boom. Big time out. Will Smith, though, hit a homer in the 6th to make it 6-3. In the 8th inning, Corey Seagor hit a home run. Fairbanks was in late, 6-4. And this is when, this 8th inning was pretty crazy, though, because Seagor hit the homer to make it 6-4. Turner doubles. Nobody's out. Muncy gets out. Then Will Smith with a rocket to third base. I mean, that thing, the exit velocity was flying off the bat. But that made it 2 outs. And that's when Aaron Loup came in and shut the door down. I couldn't believe it. I know how solid Aaron Loup has been for this team, but it cracks me up that it's Aaron Loup. The fact that myself, Broach, Philadelphia Phillies fan, is watching Aaron Loup pitch for the Rays in such high leverage spots. Come on. What? That is the most 2020 thing in the entire world. Who was hitless for the Dodgers? Mookie Betts, Cody Bellinger, and Max Muncy. They have enough firepower to say, well, if those guys don't get hits, they still have an opportunity to win because there is plenty of depth on that team and guys step up all the time. But it does seem like if you do keep those off the hit list, if you will, you're going to give yourself a decent chance to win a baseball game. But that was exciting. A lot of action. Blake Snell early. I was loving every second of it. There is nothing better to me when a pitcher has every single batter's number. I mean, he was literally, and I mean literally, on cruise control, utilizing that slider. The slider was nasty. I saw all these tweets from MLB's Twitter account where they put together a montage of Blake Snell throughout the first couple innings. Boom, boom, swing and miss, swing and miss. The swing and miss stuff on that slider specifically. Good luck. Good luck. You are not going to make a ton of contact on it. It's just not a reality whatsoever. But you can question the Dodgers and their philosophy heading into this game. Now, was it to the extreme of what the Yankees did in Game 2 against the Rays, trying to throw Garcia out there, follow him up with a hap? Can you question it to that degree? It doesn't feel the same. It is a little odd, though, that they tried to go with this method with Walker Buehler. They're looking at it as a big picture here of a 7-game series. They did utilize a lot of bullpen guys in this game, but with the off day, they will be in fine position and with their mindset of, hey, Walker Buehler's probably going to be able to go a decent amount on Friday, so that means we're not going to need to go as heavy in the bullpen. I just think, though, that if you can make a statement and go up 2-0, I know that doesn't mean the series is over. As I said, look at what happened so far this season. The series is not over by any means, but still, I mean, to be up 2-0, you'd rather be up 2-0. It's not a bad thing to be up 2-0 just because teams have come back. And what they allowed the Rays to do is grab life. You know, if you don't pitch Gonsolin in this game, does Lowe get a home run in the first inning? Does that wake up Lowe to get a second home run in the game with an 0-2 count and 2 outs? I love bringing that up. That opposite field bomb was unreal, was electric. And it just adds value that May was so upset with himself and so disgusted with his reaction in slow motion. I got to give credit to baseball, though, with these slow motion shots and these angles sometimes that they throw up there on replays of home runs. Like some of these angles. And I know the one that I'm thinking of specifically is when Cody Bellinger hit that home run against the Braves to give them the lead late in Game 7. There was the Twitter feed video of him from these cameras that are just insane, where it's not even 4K, it's 10 billion K. Those type of clips. Outstanding work from the production team on these shots. But no, getting back to a big-time point here is you start Gonsolin. It might be more than just losing this game. It could be waking up a guy that they need to rely heavily on. I don't know if they can win a World Series without Lowe producing. And even if Lowe produces, I'm not claiming that automatically means the World Series is theirs. But you're going to have to utilize him. You're going to have to get this guy hitting the baseball very well. And that start in Game 2 by the Dodgers, their attempt to sneak one by. You might not want to intensely look at it this way, but is it possible that just woke up the beast? You can't be waking up the beast. You saw how Game 2 worked out for the Yankees. It backfired. The difference, though, is how much the Dodgers have to offer compared to the Yankees. They're on another level. What I love about this storyline, though, is you essentially have, from a front office standpoint and from a baseball operations standpoint, the Rays that can't spend a lot of money because, well, they are the Rays, and look at how much they have available for them to spend each year, and the Rays that can spend a lot of money in the Dodgers. The philosophies are the same. The front office members, the baseball operation people, clearly they know each other. I mean, they stole the Rays operations and brought them over to the Dodgers. So they're going head-to-head. Mano y mano, the same philosophies, except one team can spend billions of dollars and the other team can spend thousands of dollars. And right now, we're sitting at 2 games and it's 1-1 apiece. I don't know if that storyline is being driven enough. I know it's been mentioned, but that's a pretty huge topic to look at. But I'll tell you what, entertaining as hell. Blake Snell, 9 strikeouts. Got to go deeper, though. Got to go deeper. That fit. Look, I know their philosophy. I know what they do. They have a strong bullpen, so they can rely on the bullpen. I guess it's not so much you got to go deeper. You just can't have that type of blow-up inning. That's what I think is the problem. You can't have that type of fifth that you go from one extreme to the next. You go from unreal to, hold on a second, we got to get you out of there because you're walking a ton of batters. But then it comes back to third time around the lineup. These players are smart guys. Mookie Betts, like I know today he was hitless, but these players are legit studs that wear the Dodgers uniform. They're going to figure you out. Or you're going to start toying around a bit because you're afraid that they're going to figure you out and you're trying to do things that isn't you. And you want to outsmart them, so you start playing around a bit. You go in different ways, and before you know it, you walk a couple guys, you allow a home run, and things get ugly. You just can't blow up to that degree. Guys might figure you out. They might get a hit here and there. But to the point where you're walking too many, that is what needs to be calmed down for Blake Snell specifically. All right, so this episode of Sports Talk with Broads is sponsored by Orbit Energy and Power. And with over 20 years of experience in the solar industry, they are home to your solar experts in both residential and commercial projects. Their solar program helps eliminate your electric bill completely by offering flexible financing solutions such as $0 down. In addition, they will make sure that you receive all the state and federal incentives available when switching to solar. They also provide water purification systems, backup energy services, battery storage, and more. Their information is all down below. I don't know if the casual fans are as dialed in as I am in this series, but it really is an interesting series when you dive deeper into it. Like, the casual fan isn't going to know about the baseball operation people, the front offices going from Tampa Bay to Los Angeles and know how analytically driven they are. It's funny, I mentioned this on one of my Eagles podcasts, but on 97.3 ESPN on the Sports Bash with Mike Gill and myself from 2 to 6 p.m., we have a segment called Ask Mike and Broads. Hashtag Ask Mike and Broads, and people chime in. And I know that this question has been something that has been brought up before, but is the Rays being this successful bad for baseball? Because they have an analytical approach, but I hate that because everyone does. You know, like, everyone has an analytical approach, and the Rays do it very well. No doubt about it. They do it with guys that nobody ever hears of, and the texter specifically brought up, I don't want to see no names. I want to see superstars play. So analytics is ruining baseball because these no-name guys are on the Rays, and I want to see superstars. That's what he claimed. And I'm sitting there baffled. Mookie Betts, Cody Bellinger, Max Muncy, Turner, you name it, run through that lineup. The Dodgers front office members, they're utilizing the same methods that they used when they were in Tampa Bay. They are heavy involved in analytics. These superstar teams use analytics too. This this conversation and this thought process on analytics is so flawed. And I'm not going to lie, I was one of those guys before that was like, look, I like analytics, but let's not make it the Bible. I'm starting to shift. I realized as a Phillies fan, the problem isn't analytics and using it as the Bible. It's the analytical team and the people who are grabbing the analytics for the Phillies that are screwing this thing up. You got to have the right people in place. You got to have the right numbers. You got to have the people who can actually gather the information. That's the problem. It's not analytics itself. Analytics actually works. It works. And I'm starting to get sucked into like an insane degree to another level, to that extreme level of the number game. And I never thought I would get there. Now, to clarify, I wasn't anti-analytics. I just thought, and quote, this is something I said for a while, it should not be the Bible. Well, if you have the right people in place with the right organization, you know what? It should be the Bible. And when it is the Bible, it works. And people need to grasp that. This is baseball in 2020. You might not like it. It might be a different pace for you. And look, I'm not in love with home run, strikeout, walk. I wish there was more doubles in play, singles in play, hit and run, stolen bases. Like, I wish there was that element again where it wasn't always a strikeout, walk, or a home run. But, this is fun as hell. If you don't like this side of things, then you're missing out. Because there is a level of enjoyment with this whole process of the number game and how they work it. It's almost intriguing. Watching how these two teams operate, it's almost like, hold on a second. I put myself in the Phillies fans' mindset of, hold on. If Gabe Kapler did that a couple years ago, if Joe Girardi did that, and the difference is the Phillies had the worst bullpen in the history of the MLB, right? It's not the worst, the second worst. So for me to think about pulling a Blake Snell or a Morton, 66 pitches or whatever the case may be, to put in the worst bullpen, second worst bullpen in MLB history since they started this thing, it's a different scenario. But I am studying how they do this, how they operate it, and I want to do it. I am on the blow up the Phillies, restart this mess, and call anyone, Neander, from Tampa Bay, and let's put this thing on the right path, because it's not on the right path right now. But this isn't a time to freak out about the Phillies, because if I start mentioning the Phillies, my head is going to explode. I'm going to be super pissed off. There's no reason to be pissed off. We're talking about the World Series. We're talking about the Fall Classic, and a good one at that, where the series is now 1-1 after a 6-4 Rays victory. And to tie it back to these front offices, imagine if the Rays, and I know this is so far out there's a lot to be played, but imagine leaving the Rays, going to the Dodgers, having billions more to spend, and you lose to the original squad. But that should be no knock on the Rays. This is just so impressive from a Rays standpoint, and that's why I enjoy it. I embrace it. Nobody knows who these players on the Rays are, right? Nobody knows. The people who have been watching the playoff runs, of course they all know. People who watch baseball, but big picture, nobody knows who these players are. They're just a bunch of guys. But these guys, they have the right mold. They have the right fit. And then you get lucky with something like Randy stepping up and being a stud. I love myself, Randy. I might get myself a Randy jersey. Get it signed and maybe hanging up on the wall. He's electric. He needs to get going, though. Come on, Randy. Get going here, kid. But when Lowe steps up, give some guys a little bit of breathing room. Oh, man. All right, well, there you have it. Morton Buehler. I don't even know what to expect. I thought the Rays' offense clearly looked different due to the pitching matchup, but as great as Kershaw was in Game 1, I also felt like the Rays just looked sluggish. And no doubt about it, when a pitcher throws the way that Clayton Kershaw did in that game, had the 8 strikeouts, 76 pitches, 6 innings, he was dominant. But I don't know if the Rays really had their best game either. And I hope you understand what I'm trying to say. No doubt that Kershaw had an impact on the way the Rays looked. But at the same time, just from a Rays standpoint, they weren't themselves. They weren't who they can be against a Clayton Kershaw. They responded. They don't care. They're not afraid. And that's why when I look at Buehler, well, stud, no doubt, tight pants, if you will. Maybe that gives him a little extra juice throwing the ball. I can't believe the other day he wore the tight pants and someone had the audacity to ask him that question in a post-game press conference. One, what the hell are you thinking asking that question? It's not even relevant to the game whatsoever because it was trending on Twitter. And two, who wants to hear the answer to that? I want to hear game stuff. I want to hear something about the game. And maybe you can get by with it if they won the game, but they didn't win the game. So now you're asking a guy about tight pants in a situation where he's pissed off and frustrated. I mean, use your brain. Who let that person ask a question in the media room? I mean, that's embarrassing. You should lose the credentials when it comes to asking questions. I don't know who it was, and if it's someone that should come off the top of my head, then shame on me. But I don't think this Rays team is afraid of Buehler. Should they be? No. Because the Rays are a good team, and they are here for a reason. And I love G-Man Choi doing his thing. I love watching him run around the bases. Nothing better than a little G-Man Choi action, right? Margot. There was a play early on. Well, first off, I want to say this. Blake Snell, when it was pretty early on the game, it must have been the first inning he pitched. Corey Seagor, he hung one. And Corey Seagor let one go for a ride, and I thought he just missed it. At the crack of the bat, I thought it was gone, but he just missed it. And the score was 1-0 at that point. I thought, hey, if Corey Seagor got that, now you're talking 1-1 game. As soon as the Rays got the lead 1-0, it could have been 1-1 with the blink of your eye, and that could have changed the entire game. And another spot that comes to mind, Margot was on third. It was an infield hit to the right side. And no, it wasn't to the right side. It was to the shortstop. It was to the left side, and he just went on it. He just flat out went on it. The play that went to the right side was Game 1 when Mookie Betts went home because he had a nice jump, and Diaz tried his best to throw it from first to home, and he probably should have went that way, even though people question if he should have went to first base or not there just to get the secure out because Mookie was going to score anyway, but I thought it was valid to go down that road and try to get him out at home. But no, this was to the left side, and he just went, and it wasn't even close at home. And you just go say, why are you going there? What is the point? You could have added another out, fine, but you would have had a man on third. It would have gave you another opportunity. Was that the Rays not trusting themselves to get that hit? Was it hey, you got to run on anything because you're going to have to capitalize on any chance you have to score some runs? I thought that spot there where Margot was on third, I would like to see better. But you got production offensively after that. Lucky Rays. Not lucky Rays, but, good for the Rays. And I can't wait for Friday. Off day, relaxation for the bullpen, especially the Dodgers, man. You name it. I think I pitched tonight. Jeez, my arms get a little sore. Everyone was coming in. I'm sitting by my phone waiting for the bullpen call. Crazy. All right, thank you all so much for listening. Hit that thumbs up button and subscribe. And we'll see you next time.